We begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, our nourisher, and we also begin by sending our peace and blessings and durood and salutations upon our beloved messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My dear respected brothers and elders, mothers and sisters in Islam, a great scholar of the past, he was at the caliber of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and the other great Imam, and he existed even before Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah. So his name was Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah. Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah was considered to be one of the most pious individuals and scholars of his time. And to them, memorizing and acting upon hundreds and thousands of ahadith was something very normal. In today's time and era, it's very difficult for us to inculcate and implement one hadith. But they were acting upon thousands and thousands of hadith. So Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah says that حُرِّمْتُ قِيَامَ اللَّيْلِ خَمْسَةَ أَشْهُرٍ, that for 5 months Allah deprived me from Salatul Tahajjud. Not from Salatul Fajr, from Salatul Tahajjud. It's not fard. A person is not going to be thrown in the pits of hell if he does not perform Salatul Tahajjud. It's a sunnah or a nafal ibadah. If a person chooses to do so, he or she will gain loads of rewards. If not, then they're not questioned in regards to why they left it out. So he says, for 5 months, it became very difficult for me to wake up for Salatul Tahajjud, and constantly, on and off, he would pray one day, the next day he would not pray, the next day he would wake up late, the next day he would wake up during Fajr time instead of the Tahajjud time. بِسَبَبِ ذَنْبٍ أَذْنَبْتُهُ, because of one sin that I committed. Because of a sin that I had committed, Allah is now punishing me by taking away this good deed. For 5 months I was deprived from this good deed. So he stayed quiet. So when he was narrating this, the people said to him, وَمَا هُوَ, what was that sin that you committed? So he said that once I saw a man يَدْعُ اللَّهَ, making dua to Allah, and his dua, that man was crying. So I said in my heart that this man is showing off. So just the thought of me thinking that he's showing off while he's performing his dua and he's crying, I feel like Allah is punishing me by not giving me the ability and the tawfiq to act upon the knowledge or the ilm that I have when it comes to the Salatul Tahajjud. In other words, one sin will take away the tawfiq to perform other good deeds or a good deed. So what is the definition of takabbur, of arrogance and haughtiness? What does it mean that the Prophet ﷺ says, man takabbar, that the one who has takabbur, Allah will degrade him? So what does the word takabbur mean? It means batrul haqq wa ghamtun nas, as it's mentioned in Riyadus Salihin, that batrul haqq, that you deny the truth. Many a times when a heated argument takes place between me and someone else, I know that person is right, but then I do not want to make myself look more inferior and him more superior. So therefore, even though what he's saying is the haqq, maybe he's giving me the proof from Quran, Hadith, but I'm not ready to accept it. That is known as takabbur. Wa ghamtun nas, another version of takabbur is to look down upon people. I have better looks than you. I have more wealth than you, right? I'm serving the deen of Allah more than you. And the scholars of Islam have classified takabbur into another 2 categories. The first one is that takabbur which initiates and gets created in a person's heart because of who they are, because of their accomplishments, because of their own family ties. Right? This is one version of the takabbur. The second version of the takabbur the scholars have mentioned is the version of takabbur which gets created in a person's heart by them regarding them own selves to be more superior than others and more pious than others. I come to the masjid, I'm going to look down upon the other person who's not coming to the masjid. I donate every Ramadan, now the fact that the other person doesn't donate, I will look down upon him. I'm standing in the first saf always, so I will look down behind those, down on those who are coming late and standing in the back saf. So this is the second version of takabbur. So the scholars of Islam have mentioned that the second version of takabbur is even more dangerous many a times than the first one. So the first lesson that we derive from the advice of Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah is not having takabbur. Just the thought was enough for him to regard this act as an act of sin, and that eventually led him to not being able to wake up for Salatul Tahajjud for how many months? 5 months. The second lesson is that only Allah Azza wa Jal judges. If we see someone praying a certain way, deep down maybe that person actually does not pray the way he prays in the masjid. Maybe he really is showing off, right? But you and I are no one to judge. Allah mentions in the Quran, "Inil hukmu illa lillah," leave the judgment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can only judge based on a person's outer appearance. The third lesson that we learn is can you repeat that again? Praying different. No, I will explain it later. I think some of you misunderstood. I'm mainly mentioning the version of takabbur that leads to a person look down upon those, not because they're praying a certain way or maybe they're following a different mazhab. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about maybe sometimes when a group of friends, they come to the masjid, for example. They come to the masjid, you see all of a sudden that same person who's cracking jokes outside, maybe he's not that pious, but when he comes into the masjid, he enters into his pious mode. And everyone is now making fun of him and saying, hey, you're not that pious. So what are they doing? They're looking down upon him. Let that person be who he wants to be. Let him pray the way he wants to pray. You and I are no one to judge. We're no one to judge. That, hey, at home, it takes you 2 minutes to perform salah. In the masjid, mashallah, just because there are hundreds of people, it takes you 10 minutes to perform salah. We're referring to that. We're not referring to the different versions of the prayers of Raf'ul Yadayn and no Raf'ul Yadayn, inshallah. Jazakallah. Another lesson is that we see that our pious predecessors, from the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they would regard sins leading to a person from hirmanul khair, to be despondent or to be deprived from performing good deeds. The fourth one is that even though tahajjud salah is not fard and mandatory and obligatory upon us, we clearly see from the books of history that our pious predecessors and the scholars and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they regarded it as an important salah. In today's time and era, we have totally disregarded this salah. Now, moving on, inshallah, with the topic, my brothers and elders, tonight's topic is Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, not Hudhayfa. Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu ta'ala anhu. In the books of history, there's not that much that is mentioned in regards to Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, but he's mainly famous for one story, and that one story I will mention. First of all, we need to know that he's not an ordinary companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was considered to be from one of the closest companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet ﷺ wanted to announce to the Sahaba that fasting during the days of Eid are the days in which a person is supposed to, or Ayamut Tashriq, right? In Eid al-Adha, the 3 days, the few days of Ayamut Tashriq are the days of eating, enjoying, and drinking, not fasting. So the Prophet ﷺ wanted to announce that to the Sahaba. And he told Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu that the Ayyamu Tashriq are Ayyamu Aklin wa Shurb, are the days of eating and drinking. In other words, he was always with the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ used to give him tasks to accomplish and to perform. And he radiallahu anhu was very close to him, to the Prophet ﷺ. It's mentioned in regards to him that he's from amongst those Sahaba who attended the Battle of Badr. This is enough of a boast if you had attended the Battle of Badr. Because Allah said in regards to them, "I'malu ma shi'tum," that do whatever it is that you want to do, for verily your sins are forgiven. Kanat fihi du'aba. He had a very good humor. He would make the Sahaba laugh. He was a funny individual, but he never hurt the feelings of others. And he passed away in Misr during the time of Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now going to the story that he's mainly famous for. At the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, when Umar ibn al-Khattab was the Khalifa radiallahu anhu, Abdullah ibn Hudhafa was with a few of his companions, and they were about 300, somewhere around there. Some narrations have said 400, 500, but the number was in the few hundreds. So Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu was caught, and he was imprisoned with his companions, and these few hundred companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and some of them were also the tabi'un, they were brought to the Roman king. Now the Roman king, he heard about all the other great battles that the Muslims had fought with bravery. So he wanted to test the faith of the Muslims. He knew about the Battle of Badr, that how is it possible for 313 individuals who are not equipped, and they were able to successfully defeat who? An army of 1,000 who were well equipped. How is it possible? He wanted to meet these men. He wanted to see them face to face, and he wanted to test their faith. Now finally he's gotten a chance. In the Battle of Ajnadin, when Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu was the general of the army, the Muslims were how many? 30,000. And the Romans were 90,000. The Romans were 90,000. So per every Muslim were 3 Romans. And there was another Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ by the name of Dirar ibn al-Azwar. He was known by the Romans as the bare chest warrior. So back in the days, of course, we all know, we've seen it in movies, right? There's no hiding that. Whenever they would fight, how would they fight? Would they fight with no armor, or they would wear the helmets and the armors? They would always wear the helmets and the armors. Dirar ibn Aswad radiallahu anhu would jump into the first row of the battle, and he would take everything off, and only his satar and private areas from the belly button until the knees would be covered. And he would say that someone please give me shahada and take me to Jannah. And no one was able to defeat him. So the Roman emperor had heard all these stories. He had heard about the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, how Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was able to travel all the way to Persia. And when the Persians saw them, it's as if they saw ghosts. And some of them, they ran. And they said that these people are not human beings, these people are jinns. And then when they came into Persia, the people accepted Islam without even a single drop of blood. Now, Dirar ibn Azwar radiallahu anhu, a plan was made against him, that in the Battle of Ajnadin, let's take him out. So the Romans, they said that even before the battle begins, we will take him out, and then we will deal with Khalid ibn Walid. So the Romans, they decided that we will send 30 assassins behind who? Dirar ibn Azwar. And if we are able to defeat him, then we will target Khalid ibn Walid next, and then that's it. The army will be defeated, their morale will be down, and they will not be able to stand against us. Dirar ibn Azwar radiallahu anhu, when he was attacked by these 30 Romans, he took out 19 of them, and the remaining 11, they fled for their life. He took out 19 of them, and they caught him by surprise. So the Romans heard all of this, that these Muslims are not ordinary people. Finally, the Roman emperor caught some Sahaba, and finally he caught who? Some of the Tabi'un, and from amongst them Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu was there. So Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu was brought in front of the Roman king, and the king said that we need to break their resolve. That what is this religion that they are following that's giving them so much strength, right? It's 300,000 of us and we're not able to stand a chance against them. It's just not possible. It's probably this mindset, this ideology that they have. It's this faith that's giving them the strength. So therefore, let's make them denounce their religion. So the king said to him that, listen, Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, denounce your religion and I will give you half of my kingdom. So he's testing him. At the same time, he's doing this in front of all the other Muslims, because if Abdullah ibn Hudhafa says, I have become a Christian, I denounce Islam, then all the other people's resolve will also be broken. Abdullah ibn Hudhafa said to him, he didn't say to him, no, I do not accept. He said to him that, O Emperor, if you give me this entire kingdom that you own, this entire Roman Empire, if I were to become the emperor and the king of it alone, not you, not half with you, I will still say no. So the king then said to him, okay, how about this? I will give you half of my dominion and my kingdom, and I will also give you my daughter in marriage. I will also give you my daughter. Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu said, no. And then the king became angry and he said that lock him up and throw a prostitute there with him over there. Send a prostitute there. 3 days, Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu had passed 3 days. He did not even take a single glance at that woman that he was alone with. 3 days later, she comes out and she says to the Roman emperor that this man is made from steel. He didn't even take a single glance at me. So now the Roman emperor is confused that how can we break his resolve? We need to set an example because everyone is watching. I, as a king, do not want to be embarrassed in front of everyone who's under me, in front of all my generals, in front of all of the military. So the king then said that starve him for 3 days and put pork and wine in front of him, and we will degrade him this way. 3 days later, Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu became so weak that he started to incline towards the ground. You know, when a person becomes very weak, they can't stand properly. They're constantly, it's as if they have back pain or neck pain. That's how Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu became. The king said to him, what's the matter? Why aren't you eating? He said to him that I do not want to set a bad example for anyone, even though that wine, that liquor, and the pork has become halal for me. Because I'm about to now die if I don't eat or drink. But I will still won't. I'd rather face death. So the king said to his generals and his army that tie him up with a tree and call the best archers and shoot the arrows towards him, but make sure it doesn't touch his skin. So the best archers came and they started to shoot the arrows towards him, and Abdullah ibn Hudhafa didn't even blink. And he's facing death. Again, the king became embarrassed. And he's embarrassed again. Now he said to him that if you don't denounce Islam, and if you don't accept my offer, O Abdullah, then I will burn your companions alive. Abdullah ibn Hudhafa didn't flinch again. So they brought 2 of the companions who were with Abdullah ibn Hudhafa from amongst those few hundred, and they burned 2 of them alive. Narrations, I've also mentioned that they were thrown into a fryer, an actual human fryer. And Abdullah ibn Hudhafa saw the bones and the bodies of those 2 companions of his coming to the top of the oil, or to the tip of the oil. And they're floating inside that huge frying pan. So Abdullah ibn Hudhafa started to cry. The Roman emperor said, there you go, I broke his mindset, and now he's ready to become a Christian. So why are you crying, Abdullah? He said, I'm crying because I only have one life. I'm crying that I only have one life. I swear by Allah, I wish that I had as many lives in this dunya in exchange for every hair that Allah has given me, and I would give up every single time I will die in the path of Allah, but I will not give up my religion. Do whatever it is that you want to do. And now the king became very embarrassed. So now if he kills Abdullah, what's going to happen? It's still embarrassing for him that, look, you weren't able to break his resolve, so therefore you had to kill him. And it's an embarrassment for him. So the king said to him, "Oh Abdullah, kiss my forehead and I will let you live. Show me respect at least, and then I'll let you live." Abdullah said, "I will not even kiss your forehead." The Roman king said, "I will release 60 of your companions, but just kiss my forehead. Just kiss my forehead and show some respect towards me. I'm being embarrassed here." Abdullah said no. He said to him, "I'll release 150. He said no. He said to him, "Release all of the companions, then I will kiss your forehead." And Abdullah ibn Hudhafa radiallahu anhu kissed his forehead, and the Roman king and the Roman emperor said to everyone, "Go, you all are free." When they came back to Madinatul Munawwara, Umar radiallahu anhu had received the news, and he said that it is our haqq and it is our right to stand in respect for Abdullah, and he ordered all the other Sahaba and the Tabi'un to show respect by kissing Abdullah ibn Hudhafa on his forehead. And Umar radiallahu anhu basically bore testimony that in order to protect his own companions, he ended up kissing the forehead of the emperor, or else Abdullah would not even have done that. So you see, nowadays we give up our iman, we're ready to sell our iman for, just a few dollars, or just, a few moments of joy that is temporary, right? But the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, no matter what happened, they never ended up giving up their iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrect us with the tabi'un, with the sahaba and the prophets, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to act upon whatever was just said. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakumullahu.